So ESPN did this thing where it asked its college football writers to vote on who the best college football players are entering the 2019 season. We're going to talk about it. No, it's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, I want to dig into this list of 50 college football players that ESPN has ranked with its college football writers doing the voting. Now, I kind of like these things because they allow the voters to be anonymous in what they think, and we get a great understanding of what those college football writers think. I know that many of the people who watch this channel do not really enjoy ESPN, but I'm kind of on a list kick right now. Even as lists are easy, I also think they're the easiest way for us to consume lots of information and to generate discussion. And I'm doing this as much for my own understanding as much as for anybody else who might be watching this list. And I'm going to read large parts of it and commentate on it, give what I think. But also, as we are entering the last week before we start to get into college football for real, I want to take a last pass at what we think of the preseason as we head into games that actually matter and out of training camp. So let's get started. At number 50 on this list, which was voted on by these writers, Andrea Adelson, Edward Ashoff, Kyle Bonagura, David Hale, Sam Kahn, Chris Lowe, Adam Rittenberg, Alex Scarborough, and Tom Herron. Number 50 is Keyshawn Vaughn, Vanderbilt, running back, senior. Now, the flavor text here is 1,244 yards rushing. He is the top returning rusher in the SEC for 2019. I bet a lot of people would have missed that on the trivia question, but also set the Texas Bowl record with 243 yards rushing against Baylor. Many people remember that as also a game for which, he announced his presence to the rest of us who didn't know who he was to begin with. He averaged 7.9 yards per carry. That's really, really good. It ain't Kennedy Brooks, but it's really good. Number 49, they got Justin Fields. Wow, that's way down there. Ohio State. But also, you take into account Justin Fields hadn't done anything, which is kind of, I think, their point. Fields was the number one ranked prospect in 2018 class and showed an unbelievable amount of talent in high school. Also, getting ahead of it, the guy that he was ranked number 2 behind is Trevor Lawrence. Difference, Trevor Lawrence got to play as a true freshman. Justin Fields did not. It's really that razor thin when we're talking about the quarterback position. And I've kind of made that an argument all the way through this thing. The margins are that thin. At number 48, we're looking at Terrell Lewis, linebacker, Alabama, junior, redshirt junior. Wasn't ranked last year in this poll that they did. Alabama's defense is different when Lewis is on the field. So they say long, lean, and exceptionally quick. His ability to rush off the edge makes him a game changer, apparently. I didn't watch a lot of him. I know he missed 25 games over the past 2 years. So we'll see, man. I mean, going to need somebody to step in there for Mack Wilson, who's actually doing pretty good preseason play for Cleveland Browns. Number 47, we got Trey Adams, offensive lineman out of Washington. Adams missed the Huskies' first 10 games in 2018 due to a knee injury. So again, another guy that you're projecting to be good as opposed to is actually good. And that's going to get me into territory that I want to get to as soon as I can. But at 46, at 46, we're looking at Jalen Rhaegar, wide receiver out of TCU, Texas Christian. To those of us that really have the audacity to still say Texas Christian, TCU, I feel like you're trying to hide from something. The Horned Frogs have a Swiss Army knife in this guy. He's a threat in multiple facets. He had 72 catches for just over 1,000 yards, 1,061 yards last year. If you get him a competent quarterback, I think Jalen Rhaegar could be an absolute monster. But the chances of them getting a competent quarterback, I don't see it, man. I mean, you're looking at Alex Delton or starting a true freshman or a guy who's coming off of a really bad injury in Justin Rogers. I don't think Mike Collins is going to be that guy. And this is all aside from Matthew Baldwin, who is not eligible yet, but is appealing for immediate eligibility based on a hardship waiver to be TCU's guy. But he's also coming off a knee surgery, so we don't even know when we're going to see him. At number 45, we got Kenny Wilkes, Michigan State defensive end, which is a big deal because my alma mater, Tulsa, plays Michigan State in a game where they might get beat down. Wilkes had an outstanding performance in 2018 and very well could have entered this past NFL draft. Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Don't know enough about him, but I'm going to have to go look. That's one of the reasons I want to do this list. Number 44, Creed Humphrey. Man, that's criminally low. Center, They saw offensive linemen. Played in 14 games, started 12. Also was the guy that was just going up ahead against Quinta Williams and did a pretty good job. He's got the strength to dominate at the line of scrimmage and the athleticism to get out into the secondary for game-changing blocks downfield. Humphrey, the Sooners' center, was a vital piece of a group that won the 2018 Joe Moore Award for the nation's best offensive lineman. He's the most important piece to this year's line, which is without 4 starters who are now in the NFL. And all 4 of those guys were drafted in the first 4 rounds. And all of those guys pale in comparison to how good Creed Humphrey could be. And Lincoln Riley went on record last year saying the most talented guy on our football team was not Rodney Anderson, was not Kyler Murray, was not CeeDee Lamb. It was Creed Humphrey. Criminally underrated. But you know what? They gonna learn. Najee Harris is at number 43, running back out of Alabama. It's his junior year. He ought to be their guy, had 812 yards rushing, especially as Trey Sanders went down. He was technically Damian Harris's backup last season, but Najee got his too. And on top of all of that, he had to compete with Josh Jacobs, who really didn't get as many touches as many people think, especially as he went drafted in the first round. But in a year where you're not going to be as deep at running back as you were last year, expect Najee to be that dude. 42 is Trevon Diggs, cornerback out of Alabama. A healthy Diggs might have changed Alabama's defensive outlook late last season. And by late last season, we're probably talking about getting beat down by Clemson 44-16. All right, cool. Breaking up a team-high 6 passes, 6'2", that makes him tall. Yeah, him and Patrick Surtain back there, junior. I can see it. 41 is A.J. Epinesa. Man, another guy that's criminally underrated. This dude just pops on film, and his measurables are awesome. He didn't even start last season, but still earned all Big Ten honors after leading Iowa in both sacks with 10.5 and tackles for loss at 16.5, while forcing 4 fumbles, breaking up 4 passes, and blocking a punt. A natural playmaker, the 6'6" Epinesa is very much on the NFL's radar in 2019, and he should be. This is a guy that we're going to be talking about along with Chase Young as one of the first edge guys off the board next year. Keep it locked on that dude from Iowa. At number 40, Derrick King. Dude that's going to go up against Oklahoma in the opener for Houston. Now, latest in a long line of break Cougar quarterbacks. Yeah, well, by that, King is particularly astute at finding the end zone. He was responsible for more touchdowns last season, 50, than any returning player in the country, despite playing only 11 games. Put that in perspective, Dwayne Haskins had 50, and he played in every game. And that dude was drafted in the first round. Derrick King plays in a different conference. We're talking about him as one of the first quarterbacks taken off the board next year, but he doesn't. He needs to have a big year this year. At 39, Yetur Gross-Matos. I'm sure that I messed it up, and I'm sorry, Y-E-T-U-R. He's a junior, plays defensive end. Stock is surging after a huge sophomore season where he finished second in the Big Ten and 12th nationally in tackles per loss. 6'5", 264. All right. I'll watch you play. You and Micah Parsons. All right, cool. Henry Ruggs III's at 38. We know that dude can fly, right? 740 yards receiving, 11 touchdowns last year. 4.3 40 speed. Okay. But here's the note. This is in ESPN. He reportedly runs a sub 4.0 second 40-yard dash. My God. Damn, Henry. All right, 37, Joe Bashie, linebacker, Michigan State. There's a name for a linebacker. The Michigan State defense was the bright spot last season for this program and every year, honestly. That dude started in 13 games and is leading the team in tackles for his second year. All right, cool. 36, we got Clavon Chasen, outside linebacker, LSU, redshirt sophomore. Did you play last year? I would have known you. No. After suffering a torn ACL in the season opener a year ago against Miami, Chasen is back and ready to prove he's one of the best edge pass rushers in college football. 6'4", 238. We'll see. David Randall runs that really cool 3-4 where he could stand out, but I'll see. I was like, man, I should know you, and I feel better now because he didn't really play last year. J.K. Dobbins at 35, maybe a little low. He was ranked 23rd last year. Anyway, over the past 2 years, Dobbins has rushed for 2,456 yards, including 1,053 last year. So 1,000-yard rusher with Mike Weber in the backfield. I think this is a year where he could also come on in a big way. And another 1,000-yard year would match him with Archie Griffin as the only Buckeye with 3,000-yard rushing seasons. Eat your heart out, Zeke. 34, we got Walker Little, outside, keep saying outside, offensive lineman in Stanford. Yeah, okay, yeah, I remember you. Our first team, all Pac-12 selection as a sophomore in 2018. Yeah, 6'7", 313. I like it. Maybe y'all be able to run the ball this year. We'll see. Ian Books at 33, Notre Dame. Yeah, okay. 19 passing TDs, 4 rushing TDs. Got beat down by Clemson, but also completed more than 70% of his passes. We'll see. He doesn't have Miles Boykin out there this year, and he doesn't have Dexter in the backfield. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. At 32, we got Christian Fulton. Yeah, there's a reason LSU has branded itself defensive back U. The Tigers just keep churning out great secondary players. And you know what? He could have been inside the top 25, and he might be the second or even third best defensive back at LSU this year. Christian could play, but so can those DBs at LSU. Anthony Jennings at 31, linebacker, Alabama. As a junior last season, Jennings led the team in pass breakups with 11 and finished second in tackles for a loss. I think this is a dude that could really thrive with Pete Golding now just the only person at the controls. I'm excited to see what that dude can do based on what I saw on film last year. Adrian Martinez is at 30, quarterback out of Nebraska. We keep giving Adrian Martinez these nods, and yet I'm going, what has he done to show us that he deserves these nods? I mean, I get that it's Scott Frost's year 2, but outside of that, he ain't do much. All right, whatever. 29, A.J. Dillon. Really? That's a top 15 player. Okay, had 1,100 yards rushing last year. And, man, 6 feet, 245 pounds, running all over people. Yeah, he was hampered by that sprained high ankle. I remember that. All ACC first team, and that was alongside guys like Travis Etienne. Dude could play. At 28, we got Shaq Quarterman, linebacker at Miami. Yeah, he should have a big year. 82 tackles last year. Quarterman could have left school early, right, for the NFL draft, but decided to come back, hoping to get Miami back on track. Under Manny Diaz, 6'1", 235, senior. Yeah, they're going to be good. It's going to be him helping them along the way. 27, Tylan Wallace. Wow. I would have had him higher. I feel like I'm saying that more often than not. 1,491 yards. Like, this dude has a case for the best player in the Big 12, which we'll get to. But if you get him a capable quarterback, and I think Spencer Sanders and Drew Brown are capable quarterbacks, as opposed to the guy he had last year, Taylor Cornelius, he probably goes for 1,600 yards receiving. I mean, that's... Corn Dog short-hopped it, and that's how OU won the game at Bedlam. He doesn't short-hop it, probably talking about a different OU team altogether, because Tylan Wallace is just that good as a junior. He's going to be coming out soon. Shea Patterson at 26, I would have had him lower. All right. We'll see what he does with Josh Gaddis. Yeah, 22 TDs in an offense that wasn't built for what he knows how to do. Josh Gaddis is brought in to correct that. Raekwon Davis, defensive tackle out of Alabama, the heir apparent to Quinta Williams, and that's about it. Other than the 55 tackles and 5.5, tackles for loss. Wow, 6'7", 316. I forgot he was that big. You know what? Forget that. Raekwon might be that dude next year. Yeesh. Yeah, that's crushing. Except he was ranked 17th last year, and then Quinta Williams came on strong. Jalen Waddell, wide receiver out of Alabama, 848 yards. So that's 2 wide receivers out of Alabama so far. And, they good. Isaiah Simmons at 23, 89 tackles, 3 forced fumbles as a linebacker at Clemson. I was actually talking to Mark Branstad on my show, the RJ Young Show, on Sports Animal 97.1 FM, about some of the most athletic guys in college football, and Isaiah Simmons is that dude. Like, he started out as a safety and outgrew the position, and now he's just a monster, and Brent Venables knows exactly what to do with him. Yeah, okay, I'll take that. Dylan Moses is at 22. I like that. 45 solo tackles. He ought to be that dude in the middle this year. He's really got a great shot at winning the Butkus Award. See, Xavier Thomas at defensive end, Clemson, 10.5 tackles for loss last year. All right, yeah, okay. Then number 20, we got C.J. Anderson, corner at Florida, like the only corner left at Florida, 38 tackles, 5 for loss. I don't expect a lot of people to try to throw on him just because I think they're going to be so much more vulnerable at other defensive back positions, notably with Chris Steele out the door. That was a guy that's supposed to shore that up, and now we'll see what Dan Mullins can pull out. Jaron Williams against that defensive back group, against that secondary, is going to be fun. T. Higgins at number 19, Clemson, wide receiver, might have had him higher. He was ranked 40th last year. Interesting. 12 TDs last year. Also, I mean, It wasn't like we were asking Trevor Lawrence to throw for 5,000 yards, but when T. Higgins was open, he was open. Leviticus Chenault out of Colorado might be the best wide receiver from a pro standpoint in college football today. 112 yards receiving per game, led the Pac-12. This dude could play any position you want him to play. Running back, slot, outside. He's just a guy you got to get the ball to because he is a playmaker. 17, you got Derrick Brown, defensive tackle out of Auburn. The dude that everybody should be talking about, like they were talking about Quinta Williams last year, is that guy out of Auburn. If he has a big year, so will Auburn. Had 25 solo tackles at that position last year. 6'5", 318. Goodness. 16, CeeDee Lamb. 1,158 yards, receiving 11 TDs. He's going to have a big junior year. He just is. You're on this channel. You know how I feel about CeeDee Lamb. He's going to have a big junior year. Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle, Georgia. Yeah, first team All-American. 6'5", 320. Yeesh. If they can run the ball with DeAndre Swift and maybe get Zamir White some touches, we'll see what he looks back after suffering that injury. I think they could be good. We'll wait and see. DeAndre Swift. Oh, okay. There we go. At number 14. 1,000 yards rushing last year. Loaded backfield. He was the star freshman when Sony Michel and Nick Chubb were those two dudes that were carrying the load in 2017. Last year, came on a little bit stronger. Elijah Holyfield made the job a little easier by going to the NFL. We'll see what he does. He averaged 6.4 yards per carry last year. And knowing that they want to be able to throw the ball a little bit more and get him out in space with bubble screens and quick outs, stuff in the flat, I think DeAndre Swift could be one of those guys that we're talking about in the Heisman conversation. Sam Ehlinger at 13, I guess, had a 25-5 TD INT ratio, which is big because he threw 2 picks against Maryland to open the year last year and had 40 touchdowns total. But that's about it. I don't look at Sam Ehlinger and I'm not afraid of his passing. I think if he makes it better, if he gets better at being surgical and precise with his passing, then yeah, cool. We can talk about him as one of the 13 best college football players in the country. But right now, he's just a much more likable version of Tim Tebow. And I like the dude. I do. But his game is short yardage and occasionally throw the ball. We'll wait and see. Number 12, Rondell Moore. Yeah, that's about right. 114 receptions last year, 2,200 all-purpose yards. He was the offense for Purdue and the first ever freshman to earn consensus All-America honors. Goodness. Yeah, Rondell Moore is that dude. I had him on my college football fantasy team. I was very happy to have him. Jalen Hurts at 11, just missing the top 10. Ugh. We know what Jalen Hurts can do. All right, 26-2 as a starter, 7,600 yards of total offense, 71 total touchdowns. We'll wait to see what Lincoln Riley dials up for him, but we all expect him to be good. And then inside the top 10, there is no other Big 12 player, period. Or there is no Big 12 player. That's the last one you're going to see. That's what ESPN thinks of the Big 12. Number 10, you got Justin Ross, Clemson wide receiver. Yeah, he's good. 1,000 yards receiving, 12 catches for 301 yards. I think is that the college football playoff? Yes, it is. He was stroking. Chase Young, defensive lineman, Ohio State. I think that dude's going to play in, although he could play tackle at his size. 6'5", 265. Had 10 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. 15 and a half tackles for loss with 10 sacks. He might be the first defensive lineman off the board in the 2020 draft. He's just that good. Also, no relation. Travis Etienne at number 8, 8.1 yards per rush last year. I think that guy has the best chance of a non-quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy because there were games where he needed to bail out Clemson where Trevor Lawrence couldn't do it. Specifically, looking at how he has finished, man. Etienne finished with 1,658 yards on the ground. A number made even more impressive considering he had more than 16 carries in a game twice last year. So when he got the ball, he went to the house. I think he might be the best player in college football. I know it's hard to put somebody above a quarterback in that conversation, but if there is one, it's him. Justin Herbert at 7. I would have had that dude in the top 25. I wouldn't have him in the top 10. 6'6", 237. He didn't do much last year, though. That was kind of the thing. He's back after a full season as Oregon starter. 3,000 yards passing, 29 touchdowns, 8 TDs last year. Okay, or 8 INTs last year. Let me see. Number 6, we got Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, they're just going to hand him the ball. Second straight year with 1,950 yards or more as a runner. Goodness. Yeah, Wisconsin, where all we do is wear out running backs from Wisconsin so that they can't play in the NFL. I should have rephrased that to where all we do is wear out running backs so that they can't play in the NFL. And then I got Ron Dane just kind of in my mentions talking about, I played. We'll see. Number 5, Jake Fromm. Ooh, all right. Passer rating was good, 171.2. Then again, Tua Tagovailoa was like 199, and Kyler Murray's was or like 200, and Kyler Murray's was like 200. But we'll see. Jake Fromm has done the best job of holding on to his job anybody in college football. Ran off Jacob Eason, ran off Justin Fields. That for me puts him in the top 10. I'll take that. But at number 5, Grant Delpit at number 4, safety LSU. He be that good. That boy good. That boy real good. 74 tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, led the SEC with 5 interceptions. And everybody was talking about Greedy Williams when they should have been talking about Grant Delpit. Not to say Greedy Williams wasn't that good. He really was. Jerry Jeudy at 3. Come on, man. We're putting a lot of stock into this Biletnikoff award, but I understand. 68 catches, 1,315 yards, 14 touchdowns. He's legitimately fast. He can legitimately play. And in a loaded wide receiver court, he's the best. Tua Tagovailoa at number 2. All right, cool. You finished second in the Heisman. You had nearly 4,000 yards passing. And then, of course, number 1, Trevor Lawrence, everybody's favorite. I think we're down Trevor Lawrence a year away from talking about this dude is overrated, but he did have 3,200 yards passing with 30 touchdowns. I can live with that. I can live with this list, even as I think that is shade to throw at the Big 12 about you don't have a top 10 player in this conference. Yeah, I mean, maybe you can move Jalen Hurts up a spot and you can drop down one of these other chumps, or they're not chumps, one of these other dudes, but see, bias is showing through there. I could flip him and Justin Herbert and be fine, all right? I really could, and I think most people could. Jalen Hurts has accomplished more as a college football player than Justin Hurts has. Just Justin Herbert has. But anyway, what are we doing? 20 minutes? Yeah, all right. I don't really have any, other than what I've already said, glaring omissions from this list. Nah. I think these are the top 50 players in college football outside of one. There's no Eno Benjamin on this list. And anybody that watched Arizona State play football last year knows that Eno Benjamin was the offense. N'Keal Harry was the first-round draft pick, but Eno Benjamin was the dude. I don't know how you can put this list together and not have Eno Benjamin on it. All right. That's it for me. Doses.